If information was the answer, every business owner would already be a multimillionaire. You're not stuck because you don't know what to do. You're stuck because you're doing it alone. You can Google every answer you need, but you can't Google accountability. And that's the difference between staying busy and actually breaking through. I personally invested over $1.3 million into my own education, not college. We're talking coaches, mentors, masterminds, and that shift, deciding to invest in myself through the right people, is what took me from being broke and lost to scaling and exiting a company that did $233 million in just 5 years. But I didn't just start there. Let me tell you where it really began. Years ago, I hit rock bottom. I made money fast, thought I was unstoppable, and then I lost everything. I ended up filing bankruptcy for $2.2 million. That was my wake-up call. I realized I was trying to build something big with really no guidance at all. I was surrounded by people who were just as lost as I was. Everyone was talking, no one was teaching. So I made a decision. Instead of trying to go and figure it out on my own, I'd go and find people who had already done it. I humbled myself, started working for other entrepreneurs who were light years ahead of me, and learned every system, every mindset, every mistake that they had already paid for. That decision literally changed everything. So let's talk about traditional education versus real world education. See, traditional education just teaches theory. Real world education teaches results. College teaches you about business. Mentorship teaches you how to build one. Universities create graduates. Mentors create operators. And when you're in business, you don't need another textbook. You need someone who can look at your business and say, here's what's broken. Here's what to do to fix it. That's not theory, that's leverage. That's tuition that pays you back. Once you experience that kind of learning, you're literally never gonna go back because you start to understand the real shortcut isn't information, it's proximity. One of my favorite sayings is that millionaires figure out how to do it, billionaires ask, who do I know that can do it? The next is power and proximity. When you're around people that are further ahead than you, your standard for normal literally changes overnight. You stop playing small. You stop making excuses. I learned directly from entrepreneurs who'd built, scaled, and exited real companies. And every conversation saved me months, sometimes years of trial and error. You're not paying for answers. You're paying to skip the mistakes. Proximity literally compresses down time. It's the difference between 5 years guessing and 6 months of clarity. And once I understood that, I stopped thinking of terms of cost and I started thinking of terms of return. Like literally, how do I spend as much money as possible to compress down that time? So you got to ask yourself, what does it take to get to that education $1 million mindset? Hey guys, it's Chris. If you're finding value in what you're hearing, go ahead and like and subscribe. That way people just like you can find this content for free here on YouTube. Now let's dive back in the show. Over the years, like I said, I've spent over $1.3 million in masterminds, coaches, and consultants, and it's literally been the best ROI in my life. And I've invested literally millions of dollars into real estate, stock market, everything, because literally every room that I walk into forced me to level up. Each mentor gave me perspective that changed exactly how I think and not just how I act. I wasn't just chasing motivation, I was chasing mastery. And here's the truth. I didn't want professors with PhDs who'd never built anything. I wanted mentors with calluses on their hands, people who had built something real. And this isn't something I just did in the past. This is something that I am actively doing right now, literally looking for ways that I can spend my money to compress down that time. That's where wisdom lives. Mentorship is not just about hype. It's not about someone pumping you up for a weekend and then disappearing. It's about accountability and alignment. Now, what's the difference between mentorship and motivation? A real mentor doesn't tell you what you want to hear. They tell you what you need to hear. They challenge your thinking, they expose your blind spots, and they give you a clear path forward. Most business owners don't fail because of lack of effort. They fail because of lack of perspective. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your guidance. And when you start seeing guidance as an investment, not an expense, every single dollar that you put into yourself compounds across every part of your life. It shows up in how you lead, how you make decisions, how you communicate, and how you grow. You're not buying information. You're buying speed, clarity, and confidence. Stop seeing education as a cost. Start seeing it as a capital investment. Because when you invest in yourself, every future dollar becomes easier to earn. Don't chase degrees, chase wisdom. Learn from people doing what you want to do, not just talking about it. When you stop trying to figure it out alone and start surrounding yourself with mentors, you don't just buy information, you buy transformation. If you're curious on what it'll look like to work with me, shoot me a text at 509-905-4109 or send me a DM on my Instagram at ChrisLeeQB. You need a coach. Frankly, I don't care if it's me. You can go and invest into anyone. I don't need your money. But what I do need you to do is to start investing in yourself so that you can achieve your goals and dreams. And I'm not just talking about like whether or not you will achieve them. Look, I know you're a smart person. You wouldn't be watching this podcast right now if you weren't a smart person. Eventually, you're going to hit them. The fact of the matter is, how fast are you going to achieve them? So consider taking personal education seriously, because the greatest investment you'll ever make is the one that you make in yourself.